Hey, everybody, you're going to want to listen all the way through this episode because, yeah, we are talking about the American Music Awards and a couple of other people that were on the show, too, that made significant contributions to music in general. However, Kelly was most excited about one person in particular.
It's all about Janet. We're talking all about Janet on this episode of 90's Now. So enjoy, everyone.
Well, hello, Kello.
I can't handle it. I'm so excited.
Okay, well, let me just get to the other stuff. We'll talk about uh, a few rock stars who will just keep going, and we're happy about it. We are here for it. Kelly's Trivia will challenge us in every possible emotional way. But the reward, the reward. Also, your 90s rewind will take us back to around this time in 1993. Which is great. And since I know you're bursting to talk about it, Janet, the icon award-winning Jackson on the American Music Awards. Let's start there.
Thanks, Sharon. I've been bursting with energy and things to say for days now since the whole
Days.
thing. Yeah, so we should actually mention, and I think we kind of mentioned this last week, but we normally record earlier in the week, but we pushed it off so that we could have the full viewing pleasure of Janet at the 2025 American Music Awards getting the Icon Award. And then it was
Yeah.
good that we even had like a couple of days since then so I could sit with it. And now,
So I could sit with it, she
yeah,
says. Kelly needed her time with Janet
yeah.
to sit with it.
Yeah.
And what have you taken away from your sit with Janet, the
Yeah.
icon
Well,
award-winning
I
Jackson?
I let it marinate. First of all, I just want to say to
Sitting
all
and marinating. Go
sitting
on.
and marinating. I just want to thank all of our 90's Now followers and fans. We have many that are Janet Jackson fans, and they've been sending us some amazing messages based off of the last couple of episodes that we've been doing, which obviously have been a bit Janet focused, or at least tidbits of it. And so I just want to thank them for hanging out. And then, so for the performance, I was so excited to see, first of all, her costume choice, like her wardrobe.
Yes, it was very um comfortable.
Yeah, it was super comfortable, and she was like bringing the 90's back with the baggy pants. Like I was so excited. I
Yeah.
was waiting for TLC to come on stage with her, and
Yeah.
I like she was very smart in the fact that she did. I'm not sure if you knew this, Sharon, but when she did "Someone to Call My Lover," that song has gone viral on TikTok in the last little
Hmm.
while. So it
Yeah.
was clearly a pointed choice to do that as part of the performance. And she just killed it. She looked fantastic. She sounded fantastic. You could tell she was having fun. And I love that her guy dancers who have been with her for a really long time now, except for she's got a new dancer part of that. He was the one that actually walked her over to the podium after. He's the new guy.
Yep.
Um, like they just love her so much. They legit love her so much, and you could tell that they just enjoy spending time with her. And one of them, Guero, who we've had on the Kelly Alexander show before, he's actually on tour with Tate McRae, but clearly made certain that he could come back to do this performance with Janet and also do some of her other residency dates before he heads back to being on tour, I'm certain, with Tate McRae.
Hmm.
So everybody was loving it. You could tell that a lot of the artists in the audience were just like jazzing to get her and to see what she was going to do. And I really enjoyed Jennifer Lopez's introduction. Like you could tell she
Yes.
heartfelt, wanted to see Janet and see her and hang out with her and all that kind of stuff. And she was so excited to do that. So um, Janet was next level magic. And her her acceptance speech, Sharon, her acceptance speech was
Yeah.
so like her and Missy Elliott know how to give an acceptance speech, like just humbly grateful. So
Hmm.
go ahead,
Yeah.
Sharon.
The
Go ahead.
idea that she said that, the family that she comes from, that all they ever wanted was to make music. They didn't want superstardom, but they recognized that that's what comes with the territory or came
Hmm.
with it. So I like that. And the idea that she doesn't consider herself an icon, which is the kind of humility that um, that can be risky in its delivery because it if it's not genuine, it can come out sounding sort of like not genuine. You know what I mean? Like she could have sounded it was risky, I thought, but because it was genuine and because you could tell that she meant what she was saying,
Hmm.
uh, that she doesn't see herself as an icon.
Hmm.
I think she means it in the my takeaway was that she works
Yep.
and she likes to work. She likes the work,
Hmm.
and the art of the work and the work of the art. Um, uh, Without a doubt, she is an icon. There's
Hmm.
no question about that, obviously. But the
Hmm.
idea that that kind of an accolade would get in the way of the true pursuit, I think, is where she was coming from when she says she doesn't think of herself as an icon. And I think it's important to acknowledge what an icon is, acknowledge that people might think of you that way, but not rest there.
Right. Hmm.
And I think that's that. I think that her whole family, their upbringing, their life's work in the
Hmm.
arts has been something that has demonstrated that.
Yeah, I actually recently saw a clip online of her mother from who knows when, but her mother was being interviewed and she said, she's like, I raised all of them to know that they were no better than anyone else. That yes, they were in music and dance and entertaining, but that didn't mean they were better than anyone else. And I literally just saw that clip recently. And when I saw Janet's acceptance speech and also how I already know Janet to be, I was like, uh-huh, like check that, like Mama Jackson made that work
It's
because that's
it,
exactly how she is.
it's important to know that too, so that you don't sort of buy into the hype. That's the danger zone. We see a lot of artists that get
Hmm.
really big really quick, and they don't know how to manage that.
Hmm.
And then you find out that not knowing how to manage the emotions of that, bleeds into the mismanagement of a lot of other areas of your life.
Yeah. And I think you nailed it too on the head when you said like just how she accepted it. It was genuine because I don't think there's any other way she can be. And it's interesting too. I think you know this, but maybe you don't. Janet has said in an interview not that long ago, and I think she's maybe said it a couple times now, she doesn't keep her awards in her house. Like they are in storage somewhere. And
Hmm.
she's mentioned that she'll keep them for her son. And if he wants them, great. But like that's not a part of her everyday life. And I just thought, again, like that's so telling of who she is as a human because I mean, I've seen how many celebrities who have, and it's fine. Like if you have like a vanity room or a vanity wall or something on your mantle, like it's all good. But the fact that she doesn't even have them in her house, that
Hmm.
just speaks to like she doesn't need recognition. I think the recognition from her fans is enough
Yep. I
and
think
from
you're
her
right.
colleagues and again like to a person I've never heard one person that I've interviewed that works with her
And
not
you've
say
interviewed a lot of people that work with
right.
her.
Yes, and I'm very grateful about that and humbly so. um they just all say like she literally is the kindest, most humble, down to earth human who just this is what she does for a living, but she's really just Janet.
Just Janet.
Just Janet, like just Jack. Yeah.
Well, she is fantastic. She looked great.
Oh,
Like
so good.
she's her fitness level is on point.
Yeah.
She looked really relaxed.
Yeah. Oh, that's it. And I think she's and I've said this to you before that, like I so many of her albums I kind of deem as like her opus, but like for me, I think The Velvet Rope was that in a way, like
Mhm.
her legit like that this is her art piece, if you will. And that was 1997 and she would have been 31 at the time. And I feel like at that time, I don't know that she was able to enjoy all of her success, even though she had a lot of it at that point. I just feel like now she's able to take it all in. She has nothing else to prove. Because for so many of those early years, she was compared so much to Michael and oh, the Jacksons and how like, she got to where she was because of that. And she's so distanced herself from that because she's legit talented. And that's, we know that now. And I hope she just is enjoying, I just feel like she's enjoying everything. So that's great.
The other thing is that the bigger you become as a success, the brighter your star can shine, and the I think the expectation of you is increased also. So, you know, for, for her to have gone up there and spoken so eloquently and giving it the time it deserved versus the artists that go up and say, "Thanks so much, appreciate it, love you guys," and
Yeah. Yeah.
take off. Like there's an element of that job that you have to learn how to be. and there's, I guess, a framework on how, to public speak and be considerate and things like that. But there's we go back to circle back to the genuine again. The idea that she doesn't keep awards in her house, I think, is probably smart, because the other thing about awards, as great as they are and as warranted as they are, especially when it comes to this one, that they do reflect a sales angle.
Mm-hmm.
And it is important to sell things
Mm-hmm.
if it's important to you. And
Mm-hmm.
it's certainly important to the record companies. But to have that distract from the purpose, which I believe for her is the art, then it's, she's wise not to keep the awards nearby. She's not doing it for the awards. She's doing it for the fans and for herself.
Yeah. So she's awesome sauce. And yeah, I think she just give her icon awards every 6 months. Like
She's
that'd be
back.
that'd be great. And before we move on from the awards, I would also like to give a shout out to Gloria Estefan.
Oh man, you know what? We're going to talk a little bit more about the American Music
Okay.
Awards, because there's a few elements of that show that we can tack on and then add to.
Hmm.
Um, so we'll do that. But I was basically surprised that you said that we were going to move on from Janet. Are you sure?
Well, not really. I could talk about her all day.
I
Um,
know.
all day. Yeah.
Okay, well, we will step on to other elements of the show because there were other people there
Hmm.
that had lots to do with Janet.
Yep.
But we'll get to some trivia. How about that?
Let's do it. Would you like Sharon hobbies, toys, and games to start or sport?
I'm gonna pick sport.
Alrighty. Which gymnast won the balance beam gold medal at the 1996 Olympics?
Olympics, was it Tara Lipinski? Is she
You know what?
is she a skater?
I believe she was after that. Do you want to give this another?
I do.
I'm gonna give you initials. And like
Yep. Let's do
I
it.
remember I'm just gonna preface this by saying like I remember this girl as a competitor and
Hmm.
like she was so serious because I think she had so much pressure or that was the intent like the impression I got.
Okay.
It's nice to see her later in life more chill. So SM is the initials SM.
Oh man, I don't remember. My
Shannon
brain.
Miller.
I wouldn't have got that,
Really? But do
honestly.
you remember Shannon like was so because I think there was like ridiculous amounts of pressure on her.
Was she blonde?
Yes, and I think she had
Yeah.
like little kind of pigtail or like was pulled back like here.
Yes.
There was a lot of pressure on her, like a lot. And especially because was she up against Kim Zmeskal? I think so. I think Kim Zmeskal and Shannon Miller were both elite Americans at the same time and there was like I'm not saying friction, I just think there was a lot of pressure for both of them to
Yeah.
achieve.
Sure.
So good job, Shannon Miller. Um, hobby
Not
stores and
good job, Sharon Miller, not Shannon Miller, not Sharon Hyland.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hobby stores and games. Catching butterflies that flew out of an elephant's trunk was the aim of which children's game?
Catching um, butterflies that flew out of an elephant's trunk.
Yeah. See, I'm reenacting it for you.
Is it
You're
hungry?
welcome.
I want to say hungry hippo,
I'm
but
gonna say elephant.
and I'll say I'll never heard of it.
I've never heard of it either. Yeah.
Wow.
Um,
I just think there's an element of these questions that you should lie and say that you
really?
have heard of it.
Well,
Because if
sometimes I
you haven't, how do I have a
well
hope
you but
to get anything?
you had nephews at that time. I didn't. I was still younger.
Okay. Got it. You'll always be younger.
Nueve
Check.
years younger. Yep. Yep. Yep.
Well, I'm sorry we missed out on the elephant of it all.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about Janet Jackson, and now if we go back to J Lo and her connection to Janet Jackson, in that she acknowledged in her intro of Janet Jackson, I'm just trying to make sure we hit our Janet Jackson
Yeah.
name drop quota, that that being in the video for That's the Way Love Goes was a big boost for her career, which is cool to
Hmm.
think that she hosted the awards and then, did a great performance, but also in one of her introductions, introducing an OG who she also gave credit to for Latin music, and that of course is Gloria Estefan.
Yeah. Love
And
Gloria.
and she performed and she was great. And she gave a shout out herself to Conga, the song,
Yeah.
just that timeless classic that just, I remember, being at family functions or weddings later on into a few years after the song came out and thinking
Hmm.
this song is never going away. And I'm fine with that. Just so fun.
It's when she started doing conga at the end, I totally pictured
Yeah.
her from back in the 80s, and I was doing the because I remember that
You were in it
video. And yeah, and
for,
I was just like I was so happy to see her on that particular stage because yeah, we she hadn't done a performance on AMA since like coming out of the dark from 1991, I think that was. So
oh, wow. That was a moving performance too, because that was after her accident.
yeah, because do you remember at the time like they did a montage because I think it was John Bon Jovi that introduced her that
Hmm.
time. And they did a montage of showing like the bus after the
Yeah.
accident and then her like kind of I don't know if they showed I feel like they showed some hospital pics or some like recovery stuff and then they showed her like at the gym like trying to get herself back. She has like steel rods right or in her back.
Yeah.
Like there's
In
some
her
kind of
back.
rods in her back. Anyways, and then she came out in that crazy sequin blue dress with like she had like her arms were toned like she was ready to kick butt and take
Oh,
numbers.
yeah.
And she did. And so I was just gleeful to see her back
Yeah.
on that stage doing the conga shimmy. Yeah.
She was great for that. For me, that song reminds me of I DJ'd a wedding once for a friend of my sister's
Hmm.
and played the song. And my sister was at that wedding
Yeah.
and she was dancing with her best friend. And they had frequented the bar a couple of times by the time I played that song. So their inner Latina was being resourced
Yep. Yep.
on the
Yep.
dance floor, and it was completely out of sync. And one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. So that song makes me happy, period. But it makes me happy to think of that memory. So I was happy that Gloria Estefan shared it with the world the other night. Now it's interesting that you mentioned the rods in her back, and it's not funny. I'm not laughing at that. I
Hmm.
am laughing to myself at the segue to how Rod Stewart was
Yeah,
also at the the American Music Awards,
he was.
and he got surprised by five of his children. That's right, five of his children because he has eight. But five of them were there to present him with the Lifetime Achievement Award or introduce him. And
Hmm.
he was genuinely surprised by their appearance. He thought it was a video that they had played, but they were there. And the fun thing about Rod Stewart is that he wants to keep going. He's
That's
got
great.
three albums in the work right now, in the works,
Hmm.
which is incredible. He's almost 80 years old,
Yeah.
right? He's
Yeah.
either, he's
Is
either, I
he?
think,
Is he?
let's see if I don't remember if he's already 80 or almost there. Either way,
Yeah.
oh no, he turned 80 in January. So there you go. 80 years
Okay.
old, three albums on the go, like not yet finished, but that's how he sees his work, right? He's never gonna not work. And this quote, there's so much more music that I want to create. I've got a covers album, a country album, and a Faces album, which is amazing for the diehard Faces fans. All of those albums in the works. He said, I just can't stop. Even when I'm spending time with my grandkids, my passion for music drives me. I feel like I've done everything I've ever wanted, but there's still more to come. He told that to the magazine for AARP,
Nice.
which is the something association of retired people, which is ironic since he ain't retiring.
He's not.
Pretty crazy. And he
Yeah.
and he performed that night too at the American Music Awards, so that was really cool.
I missed his performance because I had to get to bed. However, there's a Janet connection to Rod Stewart.
Of course. What is
On
it?
her Velvet Rope album, she did Tonight's the Night.
Oh yeah, of course.
I wonder
This
if
episode is really like got some nice little zigzags to it.
yeah, and I wonder if like I don't know if I don't I hope they got to say hi at the awards. Like I don't know if they did or not, but
Well, I
I
hope so because he seemed pretty close when J-Lo introduced him or presented him with the award or thanked him for performing it. Whatever it was, she was in a very classy yet revealing outfit, which I think was the theme of her soiree. And
yeah,
she's got the goods to back it up, if you know what I mean. Uh,
very very much so.
and yeah, so maybe he did see Janet backstage.
I hope so. And just back to JLo for a second. I don't like she was very gleeful when she introduced Gloria Estefan, and I'm hoping she was when she introduced Rod Stewart. You would know because I didn't see that part. But again, I have to say I was so like thrilled to see how genuinely excited she was to introduce Janet. Like you could tell she was just really excited to have Janet come out on stage and do her thing. Like it was really, because sometimes you don't always get that from J-Lo. Like when she's doing
No.
her thing, she's very in the moment, very business, got to get it done. Like, and she's
Yeah.
got her entertainer part on, but it's almost like
Yep.
she really was like fangirl.
Yeah. She was as business as usual,
Hmm.
meaning she's usually all business, but she did manage to make some fan time for herself, which is great. Now,
Yeah.
if we could full circle this whole thing and get to a 90s rewind, I
Yes.
can tell you a couple of things. That Rod Stewart was on our radios around this time in 1993 with his version of Have I Told You Lately? That was from his Unplugged album. I can tell you also that Whitney Houston's I Have Nothing, Nothing, Nothing If I Don't Have You. Great song. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah.
That was very loud when it came on the radio or my Walkman, whichevs. We know 1993 is the golden age of hip hop, right, Kel?
Hmm.
Dr. Dre's Nothing But a G Thang was also competing for radio time. PM Dawn were whisper talking through looking through patient eyes.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. It's a great song. And yet I'm like, just either whisper or sing, but don't do both. SWV and Weak. Oh, so good.
So good.
And we'll throw one more in before I get to the whole full circleness of this whole thing. But for our friend, the Prince, our one Prince, two Princes from Spin Doctors,
Nice.
was also on the radio back in 1993. But the whole full circleness of it all is that at number one, again, was Janet Jackson with
Yeah.
That's the Way Love Goes.
Love that song with Jennifer
Incredible.
Lopez and
In
Tina
the
Landon.
video.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to touch base with Tina Landon to see if she what she thought about the whole performance.
Yeah, actually I should check in with her. And I'm glad you actually brought Tina up because quick, I couldn't believe this actually, and I'm happy to mention it now. By the time our show airs within a day or so of this, it will be, and Sharon, I'm glad you're sitting down, the 30th anniversary of the release of Scream.
Whoa,
Isn't that bananas? Like
that is bananas.
May 31st, 1995, Janet and Michael released Scream 30 years ago.
That is a bit bonkers.
Yeah, and Tina, of course, was the choreographer on that video, and we've interviewed Tina about it. You can find it on our YouTube channel if you type in Tina Landon and Scream. You'll find that. We also spoke to Travis Payne, who was Michael's choreographer. So Tina worked closely with Travis, so Travis could get Michael up to speed because Michael works differently,
Hmm.
or you know how he learns his choreography. So yeah, it was quite the and also too like and I Sharon, I'm sure you and I talked about this before, but like the director, Mark Romanek, he initially didn't want to do a dance sequence because he's like, oh, everybody's expecting that. But if like, yeah,
Yeah.
so you got to do it.
Yeah, we
So
are, Mark.
yeah, so I mean, he did a great job with the whole space theme and all that. But I'm glad that the team fought for it and were like, no, like
No
there
kidding.
has to be a Michael Janet dance sequence, like has to be. So
Wow. That's a like that would have been a career-ending move for
yeah,
Mark to dig his heels into something like that. Not
yeah.
wise.
Yeah. So anyway, so happy 30th anniversary to Scream. Congratulations again to Janet and her iconness. And
Yeah.
also, I just would like to say it's nice to see an artist who looks ridiculously amazing in baggy pants and a tank top and a
Yeah.
shirt. We've talked about this before. I'm not
Yeah.
always a fan of all of the cat suits that go on
I'm
these
not at
days.
all. Put
And
some
it was
clothes
just
on.
cool to see her come out in baggy clothes, a la, TLC business, and like
Yeah.
just be like ridiculously cool and fashionable and on point and
Yeah.
happy. So like happy 59th birthday again, Janet, because you killed it 2 weeks later. So good job.
Yay.
Yep.
And that's it. You know what? We'll tackle another music story that I was going to try and fit into the show today, but I'd rather give it some more time so we can
To
dissect it.
marinate, Sharon.
Yes, we can let it marinate. If that doesn't make you feel creepy, hopefully you'll come back and listen to our next episode.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to this one, though. If you didn't get to enjoy the American Music Awards, chances are there's some clips you can find online, probably
Hmm.
really easily.
Hmm.
And if not, hopefully we painted a great picture for you. Thank you for finding us wherever it is that you do that. And thank you for listening to 90s Now. Still happening.